Time flies by when you're having fun. Welcome back to the last unit of week 2. Here's our unit overview slide, and process monitoring and controlling is chapter 7 for this week. Let's kick this last session off one more time with a quick recap on our previous session on process implementation and change management. In our last session, we first talked about the elements of process implementation, processes, systems, and people. We then spent a long time explaining why change management is so important. We also talked about which elements of the SAP transformation suite can support process implementation, and finally, about some of the very critical success factors of process implementation. Now that our redesigned processes are rolled out and implemented, they need to be continuously monitored and controlled. We mainly do so for 2 reasons. First, we want to verify that process changes really do have that positive effect on process performance. And if we don't measure process performance, we won't be able to tell. The second main reason to monitor process performance is to detect potentially arising new process issues as early as possible and to be able to react quickly. In this phase, we also fine-tune the process based on performance measuring, but also based on feedback that we gather from the process users. The output of this process should be an improved and constantly monitored process. Again, here's a nice quote with a lot of wisdom and truth. Kelvin said that what is not defined cannot be measured, and what is not measured cannot be improved. And what is not improved will always degrade. But how do we know how well a process runs? How do we know if a process has improved? We may do things differently, but how do we know that we get better at what we do? Well, we won't be able to objectively find out until we measure and manage process performance. And therefore, let me bore you with one last definition on process performance management. It is defined as the practice of measuring, controlling, and reporting of processes with a goal to achieve a defined process objective. It promotes effectiveness and efficiency by improving processes continuously. Okay, well, that explains what we need to do, but not the why. Process performance management is done for a few reasons. We want to enable process-oriented decision-making because numbers don't lie. Secondly, we want to establish a culture of continuous improvement by detecting improvement potential systematically. So if our PPIs indicate a loss of productivity or a rise in lead times, we can investigate and find out the underlying root cause quickly. And third, we want to do fact-based and professional management of processes. Now let's spend half a minute on the difference between key performance indicators and process performance indicators, KPIs and PPIs. All companies follow a main strategy and they set their goals accordingly. These goals are then cascaded down on an operational level and measured in form of key performance indicators. Now, PPIs are defined bottom-up on an operational level and support the business goals. They don't necessarily report the results of a business area, but much rather on how well their processes are running. How well are we doing things? Let's take a look at an example. PPIs can be defined at any level in any business area. We distinguish between input indicators, operational indicators, and output indicators. Input indicators reflect the assets needed to achieve a result, such as an amount of raw materials used, energy consumed, or resources required. Operational indicators tell us more about the efficiency of a specific process or activity. Many of them are expressed in times, such as working times, cycle times, or downtimes. Consequently, Output indicators reflect the quantitative outcome of a process, such as all units produced, cost per unit, or fulfillment time. PPIs must be tracked on a regular basis to be able to compare them and measure process performance over time. Now, measuring process performance manually can create quite some effort. But let me show you how system-supported processes can be monitored. What I'm showing you here is a screenshot of a Process Insights report. Every line shows a process indicator for the performance of one specific process, in this case, plan to fulfill. Monitoring processes with dashboards and reports like this one allows you to react quickly and improve processes continuously. Here are some more views on dashboards and reports. You can tell that monitoring processes with dashboards and reports like these is actually quite fun. It allows companies to react quickly and improve processes continuously with very little effort. And this is just a sneak preview. Week 3, I can promise, will be all about process insights and SAP Signavio process intelligence, and you can be really excited about it. Now, for process monitoring and controlling, the SAP Signavio suite offers 3 great products. The SAP Collaboration Hub to share and comment on processes, of course, Signavio Process Insights, and Signavio Process Intelligence, both for monitoring and controlling processes in real time. Now, for process monitoring and controlling, I would believe that the following points are critical for success. The identification of meaningful PPIs to accurately reflect process performance, which can be really hard in the beginning, but will become easier with more experience. And by the way, determining and benchmarking these PPIs should happen as early as in the process discovery phase. Secondly, establishing a continuous improvement mindset really makes a difference. Also, plan in enough resources and consider implementation of tools for process monitoring and controlling. And last but not least, ensure that monitoring focuses on process performance only and not on employee performance, as this can be really toxic for the culture of an organization. Wow! Here comes our final summary for the final session of week 2. Now, what are the key takeaways I would like you to remember from this course? Of course, we talked about what process monitoring and controlling is all about and why process performance management is so important. Also, I've shown you which element of the SAP Signavio Transformation Suite can support process monitoring and controlling, and we finally covered some of the critical success factors of process monitoring and controlling. Wow, this was fun. Thank you so much for your attention and your interest, and I truly hope that I made you share some of my excitement about BPM. If you have any questions on BPM or related topics, feel free to reach out to me in the forum. Take care and keep improving the things you do.